In this second session for the module 2, we will be discussing about the different angles that has been made between the sun and to the earth, the solar radiations falling onto the earth's surface. Before I just proceed with the different types of angles which are been related to this solar radiations with respect to the earth, the surface. So I quickly go through with the solar constant. As in the previous class itself we have defined, solar constant is nothing but the amount of radiations which are falling onto the earth's surface. It may be irrespective of the place or the time. So what happens, this constant is being defined as in that particular point, in that particular time and in the particular space or the place, the amount of the total energy which are available on the earth's surface in a unit time, whether it may be in the morning or it may be in the evening. Actually the solar constant, so the term, it is bit confusing actually, but still irrespective of the timings, because the solar radiations which are falling in the morning, it will be entirely different than the solar radiations which are falling in the evening. So in that context, at that particular time, the total solar radiations which are reaching to the earth surface in a particular time, in a unit time, in a unit time, on a unit surface area, where this surface is been held perpendicular to the directions of the solar radiations. Meanwhile, while defining the solar constant also, we are going to consider the mean distance between the sun and the earth. The mean distance between the sun and the earth will decide the solar constant. Basically this solar constant will be given with 1.367 kilowatts per meter square. That means 1.367 kilowatts of so much of radiations or energy which are available per meter square area on the surface. Okay, and provided, basically what happens, why we have to consider a perpendicular area for the solar radiation? It is for the two reasons. One is, it is mainly because the solar radiations doesn't fall equally on all the surfaces, since the earth, it is in spherical in shape. The second one is, the solar radiations which are falling onto the perpendicular will make an angle of 90 degrees, whereas if it is an incline, it will be considered as a tilted surface, where there are chances of the solar radiation, the solar radiations will be reflected because of this inclination or tilting of the surface. That is the two reasons why we have considered this defining solar constant as a perpendicular area. Okay, now let me, in order to find the beam energy falling on a surface having any orientation, it is necessary to convert the value of beam flux coming from the direction of the sun to an equivalent value, which has been corresponding to the normal direction of the surface. This relationships for making this conversion will now be given by, if theta is an angle between the incident beam of flux IB and the normal to the plane surface, that is the normal to the plane means the unit surface area that we have been considered, that unit surface area, then the equivalent flux falling normal to the surface is given by IBN into cos theta. Obviously it is something like resolving our forces, the I into the cos theta, which is just resolving horizontally to the with respect to the horizontal surface. Then the angle theta can be related by a general equation to the phi, which is nothing but the latitude. Beta, if the beta is being considered as the slope, then the different types of angles like azimuth angle, zenith angle and declination angles will come into picture. In that context, this latitude is being defined as the angle of incoming solar radiation influencing a seasonal temperature of locations at different latitudes. When the sun's rays strike the Earth's surface near the equator, the incoming solar radiation is more direct. Whenever I say it is more direct, it is nothing but nearly normal or perpendicular or being very close to the 90 degrees of angle. Is it clear? Therefore, the solar radiation is concentrated over a smaller surface area, causing warmer temperatures. So, at higher latitudes, as we go for higher latitudes, the angle of solar radiation is smaller, causing energy to be spread over a larger area of the surface and cooler temperatures. This is what, my dear friends, actually a, at higher latitudes, the angle of solar radiation is been very small, which causes this to spread over a larger area. That is the reason why we will get a surface and a cooler temperatures. That you might have experienced it many times when you go for a higher latitude places. The temperature will be much cooler. Even in the summer, it will be much cooler. It is only because of the smaller angle of solar radiations. Is it clear? There are many places even in Karnataka also, because the angle of radiation varies depending on the latitude. Surface temperatures on average are warmer at lower latitudes and cooler at higher latitudes. Even if you find one nearby place is in Chikmagaluru, where the higher latitude, if you go, the city itself will be a warmer, whereas when you go for higher latitudes, you may find it as a good breeze and a chilling effect. It is only because of the smaller angle of solar radiations making it more cooler. Is it clear? So, as because this angle of radiation varies depending on the latitude, surface temperatures on average are warmer at lower latitudes and cooler at higher latitudes. Even though higher latitudes have more hours of daylight during the summer months. This is what happens. It is only because the places on the earth surface doesn't will be as plain one. There will be hill stations, there will be variations in the surface. That is the reason why it just happens. Now this declination angle, the earth's equator is tilted 23.45 degrees, as you can see it in the sketch. Now this is what the next to the dotted line, there is a one perpendicular line where in which we have tilted this with an angle of 23.45 degrees with respect to the plane of Earth's orbit. Now this is a dotted line which tells us an Earth's orbit. Earth's orbit is the one along which the Earth is been rotated. It is something like our CG. The orbit along which it is been rotating, okay, around the sun. So at various times during the year, as the Earth's orbit, the sun declination varies from 23.45 degrees north to 23.45 degrees south. This gives rise to the seasons. This is where actually we get different types of seasons, actually summer, winter, and all these places. It is only because of the declination which has been varying, the declination angle which has been varying from 23.45 degrees north to the same amount of degrees towards the south. As we can see it here now in the sketch, the solar radiations which are falling onto this particular area will be changed as there is a declination angle. Now this is a, if you consider the up one portion as a north pole and the bottom one as a south pole, this is an equator which indicates, this is an equator and this is an equator plane. Now you can see the declination angle of delta, which has been denoted by delta, declination angle. This makes the change in the declination angle by 23.45 from north to the south. As it changes from north to the south, we get a different rise in seasons, change in the seasons. The following equation can be used to calculate the declination angle. Now, how we can calculate the declination angle as the earth keeps rotating? Now you can see this delta is equal to minus 23.45 degrees into cos of 360 divided by 365 into, no, it is actually 360 divided by 365 multiplied to d plus 10, where d is nothing but the number of days. Now my dear friends, even while talking about the solar constant also, we have taken n as a factor, where n is given as from for a January 1st, the n will be 1 in order to find out the solar constant. If you are calculating a solar constant on day 2, or that is January 2, then the n becomes 2. Similarly over here, the day is the number of days, not the day which we are considering. It is the number of days since from the start of the year. It is given by, once again, delta is equal to minus 23.45 into cosine of 360 divided by 365 into d plus 10, where d nothing but number of days since from the year. The declination angle equals 0 at an equinoxes March 22nd and September 22nd, positive during the summer in northern hemisphere and negative during the winter. This is the reason why this negative term is being taken in the equation. Is it clear, my dear friend? It is only because during the March 22nd and March September 22nd, positive during the summer in the north hemisphere, and it is negative during the winter. Now the other important one more angle is the surface azimuth angle. The solar azimuth angle is defined as an angle between the projection of the sun's center onto the horizontal plane and due south directions. I'll show you once with the sketch actually. Now you can see it here in the azimuth angle between S towards the south towards the north. As we take it, this is a horizontal surface. This is a horizontal surface. If you imagine that you are standing over here, it is nothing but this angle is nothing but an azimuth angle. Is it clear? Now that is what is being defined over here. Solar azimuth angle is defined as the angle between the projection of sun's center onto the horizontal plane and due south direction. When used as a celestial coordinate, the azimuth is the horizontal direction of a star or other astronomical object in the sky. Okay. The azimuth is the angle between the north vector and the star's vector on the horizontal plane. Azimuth is usually measured in terms of degrees, of course. Azimuth angle varies from 0 to 360 degrees. It starts with the north at 0 degrees, as you can see it here in the figure itself. In the north, it starts with 0 degrees and then it ends up to 360 degrees. As you turn to your right in a clockwise direction, as we just turn into the clockwise directions, we will face east, which is 90 degrees. Then the south, which is 180 degrees. Then the west, which is 270 degrees, and then the return to the north, which is nothing but 360 degrees. So this is called as a surface azimuth angle. Now, I repeat once again. Now here, if you are considering this north, if it is coinciding that when the azimuth angle is 0 degrees, so it just lies over here. As it keeps rotating yourself in the clockwise direction, in the positive, in the right side directions, once it reaches an exactly east directions, then the azimuth angle will be 90 degrees. As it keeps rotating or tilting up to the next direction, that is south, exactly opposite to the north, obviously the common sense says it is 180 degrees. Azimuth angle will fall into 180 degrees. Now if you keeps rotating, then when this surface which has been inclined to the west direction, then it will show that azimuth angle will be is equal to 270 degrees. And then if it comes back to the north, once again it is 0 degrees or it is once again 360 degrees. So that is a reason why this solar azimuth angle makes a complete one angle of 0 to 360 degrees turn. The sign convention, once again, the solar azimuth angle as in the angle between the due south line and the projection of the site to sun line on the horizontal plane. That is the same thing what we have discussed now. The sign convention used for azimuth angle is positive west of south and negative east of south. Now this is the south. Okay. Now we are considering the azimuth angle as positive when it is towards the west of south. That means, as you can see it here now, there it is written as a ground plane. Now whenever the angle which falls between north to the south, towards the west, then we take that azimuth angle as a positive. And when the same angle falls between south and towards the east of south, now, if it is falling onto the other side, that is towards east, between, you can simply, in order to understand a simple concept, NES, whenever it falls between NES, that is north and south, east of south, then we call it as, then we consider it as a negative. The same thing when we take it as WS, that is west of south part, then we call it as a positive azimuth angle. The solar zenith angle. No. Soon after this solar azimuth angle, let me talk about the zenith angle. The solar zenith angle Z is the angle between the site to the sun line and the vertical at the site, that is 90 minus alpha. Now, my dear friends, this alpha is nothing but a altitude. Azimuth angle which talks about a horizontal plane, whereas the zenith angle which talks about the vertical plane. That is the reason why whenever we use that metamorphosis as a zenith, zenith means at the peak, that is on the vertical plane. I just shall come to that zenith angle which is been given by 90 minus alpha. Now you can see it here, this is a perpendicular line. At the tip of this line, whatever the angle that we are considering it with the tiltation, that is what indicated by a zenith angle, and this zenith angle is given by 90 minus alpha. Now this dotted line which is showing it as a horizontal line, this is an altitude. Now this perpendicular line and this dotted line which is indicated by horizontal is an 90 degrees. So above the altitudes, whatever the which is the angle which has been made up of, this is given by zenith. So this zenith angle is given by 90 degrees minus altitude angle, whereas this altitude angle is indicated by alpha. Is that clear? So that will gives us a zenith angle. One more important angle is an hour angle. How we maybe you might have considered, you might have seen at different locations the different timings have been maintained. The timings over here entirely will be different in when you compare it to the other countries or the other part of the globe. It keeps varying. It is only because this of hour angle. In observing the sun from the earth, the solar hour angle is an expression of time expressed in angular measurement, usually in terms of degrees, from the solar noon. Solar noon means exactly in the at the peak. Okay. For example, at 10:30 a.m. local apparent time, the hour angle is minus 22.5 degrees. That is 15 degrees per hour times 1.5 hours before noon. So that means at 12 o'clock, in simple words, forget about this, if it is at 10:30 a.m., it is, if you have to consider that hour angle, it is nothing but in from the solar noon. Noon means 12 noon. 12 noon is exactly afternoon 12 o'clock. So 12 o'clock minus 10:30 will gives you around 1 point hours before noon. That is nothing but an hour angle which is indicated by minus 22.5 degrees. Is it clear? Now the hour angle at local solar noon is 0, with each 360 divided by 24 or 15 degrees of longitude. So this is nothing but an hour angle. At local solar noon is at exactly 12 o'clock, the solar noon will be 0. It is only because of 360, if you divide it by 24, which gives us to 15 degrees of longitude. The hour angle h of a point on the earth's surface is defined as the angle through which the earth would turn to bring the meridian of the point directly under the sun. Exactly. It's a wonderful statement on definitions. Hour angle is nothing but the angle h, the point at which, it is nothing but the angle or the point at which, what happens, you can see this at noon, exactly it is defined as through which the earth would turn to bring the meridians at a point directly under the sun. That is the reason why, my dear friends, exactly at 12 o'clock we don't see our shadows. It is only because the solar radiations are falling exactly perpendicular to the Earth's surface, that is on our head. That is the reason why it is happening. The hour angle at local solar noon is 0, with each 360 divided by 24 or 15 degrees of longitude equivalent to 1 hour. Afternoon hours being designated as a positive, expressed symbolically. The hour angle is in degrees is given by h is equal to plus or minus 0.25 number of minutes. It is nothing but the number of minutes from local solar noon. Okay, where the positive sign applies to afternoon hours and the negative sign applies to morning hours. It may be because if you consider the 12 o'clock as the noon, it is the noon actually, 12 o'clock as the noon. So from morning, from the midnight 12 o'clock to till noon, it is being considered as the positive negative one, whereas it will be considered as positive one from the afternoon till the next one. Okay, the afternoon hours is being considered as positive and the morning hours is being considered as negative. The hour angle can also be obtained from the apparent solar time. AST, it is the short form of apparent solar time, that is the corrected local solar time, which is being given by h is equal to apparent solar time minus 12 into 15. That will gives us the hour angle. At local solar noon, apparent solar timings, which is equal to 12, and h is equal to 0 degrees, as we have already discussed. Now the azimuth angle when n is equal to it will be at 0 degrees. The azimuth angle will be is equal to 0 degrees when it is at the north, correct? So similarly, this hour angle will be 0 at solar noon, that is at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So h will be is equal to 0 degrees. Therefore, the local standard time, the time shown by our clocks at solar noon, is given by, so whatever, this is how, based on this we are going to calculate it. So it is given by local standard time is equal to 12 minus ET plus or minus 4 into SL minus LL. Note that the minus or plus, it just applies whether it is a afternoon hours or it may be a morning hours. Whereas from the city in Germany, if you take an example, LST is equal to 12 minus ET minus 9.2 minutes. That is how it will be calculated. Now this is a zenith angle. Zenith angle, as we have already discussed, it is nothing but an angle which has been made, that is 90 minus alpha, where the alpha is the altitude angle. Okay, now if you consider this, now this figure gives you a very clear picture. As the sun, it has been indicated by orange color over here. This if it is coming, the solar radiations are coming onto the earth's surface with an angle of so and so, which has been given by solar elevation angle or altitude angle. It is one and the same, which is denoted by alpha. Then this is the zenith angle. If you take a perpendicular one line, normal line or a normal plane, which is a vertical one, then the angle made, now you just imagine like this. Now this is a vertical plane, whereas this is a horizontal plane. The solar radiations are falling onto this. Imagine. Now this is an altitude angle, whereas this is the zenith angle. This is an altitude angle, this is a zenith angle. So this zenith angle is been given by 90 minus alpha. The solar zenith angle is the angle between the sun's rays and the vertical. This is a beautiful. It is closely related to the solar altitude angle, which is the angle between the sun's rays and the horizontal plane. It's wonderful. Now by this sketch, actually even you can define the altitude angle as well as the zenith angle. If the solar radiations are falling onto the earth's surface like this, the solar radiations with the horizontal plane, whatever the angle it makes, it is nothing but altitude angle. The solar radiations, whatever it makes with a vertical plane, it is nothing but a zenith angle. At solar noon, the zenith angle is at a minimum and is equal to latitude minus solar declination angle. So at noon, that means exactly at 12 o'clock, what happens? The zenith angle is at a minimum. It will be minimum. Obviously, when the sun comes above this, that means when it the surface will be perpendicular. So that what happens? It is minimum and is equal to latitude minus solar declination angle. The zenith angle is similar to the elevation angle, but it is measured from the vertical rather than from the horizontal, thus making the zenith angle 90 minus elevation angle or nothing but altitude angle. That is what we have already discussed. Zenith is sometimes also used to refer to the highest point that a celestial body reaches during its orbit at a given point of observation. This is why zenith angle will always makes us to feel something different. It is only because often we use that zenith term as the peakest point up to which the observations can be made. Exactly. That makes us a zenith is more interesting for us. The reduction of intensity with increasing zenith angle of the sun is generally assumed to be directly proportional to the increase in air mass, an assumption that considers the atmosphere to be unstratified with regard to absorbing or scattering impurities. Now, here is your answer for the doubt. We are making some assumption. It is only because solar radiations which are falling onto the Earth's surface, as we have already discussed in the first module, it has been subjected to a lot of disturbances, that is, the scattering, absorption, and transferring. Now, in that case, we just make an assumption that atmosphere is to be unstratified with regard of absorbing or scattering impurities. The degree of attenuation of solar radiation traveling through the Earth's atmosphere is dependent on the length of the path and characteristics of the medium traversed. In solar radiation calculations, one standard air mass is defined as the length of path traversed in reaching the sea level when the sun is at the zenith, the vertical at the point of observation. That is all about these different angles. In the next class, we shall discuss a few more.